All right, welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. I'm your host, Tim Lyons, in the gorgeous studio of HQ on Growth Summit Thursday, June 8th. Joined today by Zach Columbia. What's up, buddy?
What's up, guys?
Yes, he's back for another round of beatings. Now, Randy's out sick, so we wanted to make sure that we delivered on time.
Ooh, delivered. Want to make sure we delivered.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
Guys, you're in town for the Growth Summit. I'm so excited to meet you guys. Zach's one of our speakers. You're going to have a booth there. We got something really cool to announce, and we're actually going to probably announce it right here on this show, but at the Growth Summit. So you may or may not hear it here first. You may hear it off the stage first. And hey, that's what the Built to Grow listeners get a little first action, first whatever, secret sauce early on. All right, so this episode, guys, is about the secret element, the element that most of you are missing. You probably don't even know it, right? So we talk about the 4 systems in our coaching program, everything from attraction and conversion to delivery, and then ascension. So if you've ever been in our coaching program, you know what these 4 systems are, but today we're going to hone in on the delivery system. And really the way I kind of put the delivery system is like what's happening inside the 4 walls of the business. You know, marketing and all these other things are kind of happening outside in the environment. This is the operational, everything from your pricing and how you coach, your programming, to what it smells like in your gym, essentially is in the delivery system of your gym. And in fact, it's the biggest piece of all of the systems in your entire gym. This is your product. This is what people are buying. This is the environment. This is the customer experience. This is everything all boiled down into one giant circle on my chart that when we talk about it at the Growth Summit, you'll know what I'm talking about. But something hit us the other day. Well, 2 things. 2 giant things. Let's talk about really quickly programming for a second, because programming is essentially what you're technically selling to the end user, right? Somebody comes in, you're selling a result, but how you get that result is essentially done through the programming and how you coach. And that's the delivery system we're talking about. But now the programming is sometimes, unfortunately, left up to the actual individual coaches on a training floor. And if you've ever heard us talk about this, we really want to take control of the programming at the gym level and control that experience from the top down, so your coaches, they don't screw it up. Honestly, everybody's doing the same thing. So let's get into that for a second and kind of why we developed what we did.
Yeah. So I think, first of all, I was never the guy that was like interested in programming. Right. So there has been this total like shift in my thinking, because I always thought about it from a fitness perspective, not from a business perspective. Right. And once I realized how important it was like, okay, you start analyzing this and there is so much more to it than anybody ever thinks about. Right. So, and this is what I'm going to be presenting on at the Growth Summit. When I became the director here, Mike did all the programming. Mm-hmm. It was like Brent was leaving, and it was kind of like Mike and I got together and we just started splitting up roles. And I was like, well, I'll do this, you do this. And he just took the programming, right? So I never even looked at it for maybe the first year of being the director. It was just something he went and did every week and made sure it was ready for the members. And then he ended up leaving, and so I had to take it over, and I was like, I'm not going to write programming every week, right? So I started creating this system to just make it evergreen, right? So I started going through creating a programming system, and I remember Diana Sullivan, who's one of our members that has been with us since like day one, right?
Great client.
Great client. I just happened to like walk by her in the hall, and she's like, I don't know what's going on, but like these workouts are amazing.
Nice.
And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, I started designing the programming. She goes, it's important. And I was like, whoa, okay. It hit me, right? So flash forward 6 years, right, to where we are today. And when we think of our programming now, we think of it in terms of a concept that resonates with the clients and delivery on the training floor. So delivery that makes it easy for the coaches to deliver consistently, hour after hour, day after day. And no industry exists where you're seeing the same clients 4, 5, 6 days a week for an hour at a time, have to deliver the same exact experience, quality of experience from hour to hour and from coach to coach, right? So that's a complexity. If we're not thinking about that when we're designing our programming, then something's breaking down, right? And then we have to think of our programming in terms of ownership. Like, does it belong to the gym? Is it proprietary? Can it be replicated from coach to coach? We send one coach leaves, another coach comes in, right? The experience doesn't change and the coach can't go duplicate it on their own, right? It's important. And then can you scale it? If we're writing individual programming for everybody every week, you can't do it, right? There's no way you're going to be able to scale that.
Right.
And then if you're designing the same thing for everybody, it's like you can't charge a premium for that. And if you do, the clients aren't going to stay long term.
Sure.
Right. So there's these multiple layers and things that we now have to think about from a business perspective, not necessarily just a fitness perspective when it comes to our programming.
Right. It's a lot to digest. And one of the things that most gyms, at least where I was, I would kind of leave it to the coaching team. And right, that's what we're talking about, Mike. I would look over his shoulder once in a while, go out on the training floor once in a while and see what was happening. It looked good on the surface. Okay, cool. I didn't dive deep enough at the time. This is what, 6, 7, 8 years ago, to say, is this person doing the same thing as this person? How are we getting this across? I mean, we had a system thought out, but it wasn't as in depth as it is today.
Yeah.
And obviously, talking about Diana, it showed, right? Now you changed a couple things and she enjoys it again.
She probably didn't even know.
Right.
But then she notices the difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. In most gyms that we work with, we don't speak to the programming itself because two main reasons. One is I'm not a scientific programming expert. That's not my background. I never went to school for this, right? I went to school for more of a business side stuff. And so did you, honestly.
Yeah.
But the other side of it is most gyms, coaches, trainers have their ethos or their kind of like grips on the training programming they believe in. They believe in it a certain way.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to change that. Like, let's talk about the business. And now what we're realizing is most people we talk to, they're missing the mark on all of it.
Yeah.
It's they are trying to program 2 hours a night, or they are trying to leave it up to the coaches and everybody's doing something different and the experience is different, or just it's all over the place. And so we said we got to fix it here, but we also got to fix it for everybody else.
Absolutely. Right. And so, and to your point, right, maybe 20 years ago, a gym owner could claim like, hey, I traveled to the Amazon and I met the fitness shaman and he taught me this secret sauce that nobody else knows. And we have that. That's what we have. And that's how we do our programming.
Sure.
It's like you do a simple internet search, you get on bodybuilding.com. Somebody can, let's not kid ourselves. Somebody can find as good of programming as you have. The gym down the street has that, right? Mm-hmm. So the direction that we want to head now at this topic is like, how do we differentiate ourselves? Right. As a gym, how do you differentiate yourselves? Keep in mind, all of our programming has to cover all of those things I just discussed, right? Your concept, your delivery, your ownership, your ability to scale and grow. That's kind of like foundational. It has to check all those boxes. Mm-hmm. But then how do we differentiate ourselves with our programming, right? So the example that I used when we first had this conversation was P90X, right? The thing that comes to mind when we say P90X is muscle confusion, right? P90X was brilliant. They recognize that people start and stop all the time. They start, they fall off. So P90X said, you know what? That's not your fault, Tim. It's not your fault you can't stick with the program. What happens is you start seeing good results, you plateau, you get discouraged, and then you fall off.
Yeah, well, the muscles, they get used to it. They got confused.
So they created a solution to that, and the solution was their programming. What did they do different with their programming? Nothing. They had chest and back and arms and core and all that.
All the movements are the same.
All the movements are the same, but they said, you know what happens with our programming? Well, we change it up, right? Okay, muscle confusion. And they created this branded concept around that, okay? So,
and the thing about muscle confusion, two things was at the time you couldn't do a Google internet search on it because there was nobody had claimed that yet.
Yeah.
And the other thing is it's almost conceptually reasonable to believe that if you're not, a kinesiology or exercise science major, you might say, yeah, well, that does make sense. I got to confuse these muscles.
Exactly.
And so they hit two major milestones with that name.
Yeah, and it resonated with the world, right?
Billions.
With people. Yes. And so when you buy into that, it resonates with you. Muscle confusion resonates with you.
Yep.
You buy into it. What do you get? Programming. You buy it, and in the mail comes your program and your DVDs.
Yep, the CDs, yep, the
DVDs. And then you work out, and then you experience it. Concept, product, tangible product.
Physical.
And then experience. I feel it.
Yep.
I witness it firsthand, right? Most gyms are missing at least one of those elements.
If not all of them.
If not all of them, right? And so the thing, we created Semi-Private Pro, the app that we can talk about. It's going to, hopefully transform the way the industry does semi-private training, right? We designed it to solve a problem for us. The problem that we were trying to solve was the experience piece. You came in, you observed what?
Yeah, I came in doing a podcast one day, and I came in and I was looking around, and the coaches were not engaging with clients. They were scrambling, staring at the programming in their hand on a clipboard and running back and forth, and they had pages of things to flip through, and it didn't look good to me.
Yeah.
The optics were clients are waiting around, coaches don't feel organized. They got to, the clients are probably feeling that too if they're being observant. And what am I paying for here? This experience is not what I'm paying for.
Yeah. And the thing was that, one, our programming didn't check all those boxes that I talked about initially, right? We decided, let's build this app. Let's have each workout, each client's individual personalized workout up on the rack displayed. Their name on it, their badge, their information, right? The client sees it. The purpose for that originally was we wanted coaches heads up. We want them walking from rack to rack, looking at the tablet, going, here's what you're doing next.
Talking to the clients.
Make it easier to deliver, making the experience better, making it more consistent. It's ownership, right? Now somebody can't go recreate that, making it easier to scale and grow because now the delivery is easier for the coaching staff. The box that we never thought about was that tangible product. And nobody thinks about this in our industry because we think we're in a service-based business, which we are. And so we don't think that it's important to deliver anything tangible, physical to the client. And so we could call our concept whatever we want, right? The Extreme 5000 training system.
Yep.
Well, that's great when somebody's buying it, but how do they know that it's even happening in the background? They might buy it because you sold it to them in a consultation. They're like, okay, that sounds good. And then when they come in and they're actually doing the training and experiencing it, there's nothing that tells that client you're getting the Extreme 5000 training system.
Nailed it. It's not tangible. It's conceptual only, and it's the words that came out of the salesperson's mouth to the delivery of the trainer. There's no connection to what I bought to what I'm getting.
Yes. And so there's something there that we really need to understand, which is not only does that miss the mark when it comes to a tangible product that the client's seeing, every single thing that we're delivering now depends on the coach's experience. The coach delivering it. It's going to rise, or the client experience is going to rise or fall to the level of our coaching, because there is nothing that we're demonstrating physical. The client sees this. Oh, I know the muscle confusion is now happening, right? So we could say, here's the concept, and the coach can go deliver that, not deliver that, maybe not deliver it as well as another coach delivers it. And so we're basically taking our whole entire brand, our everything that we're telling the client is like, here's our concept, here's what we do, here's what differentiates us, if you even have that, right? And then placing it on the coach's shoulders and trusting that they're going to be able to deliver.
Well, that's the way it was done.
Yeah.
And that's the way most gyms do it. But that's what we're talking about. We fixed. We fixed and we've solved it. We've checked all those boxes now. And we have a physical, tangible display on rack. Client's name, Diana Sullivan, her badge, her workout. We'll talk about the block names. The block names.
Yeah.
The block names of each kind of block of the program speak to what we talked about in the consultations.
I was gonna save that for the Grow Summit, but we'll give everybody a sneak peek, right?
Yeah.
So our proprietary concept here, our training system, our muscle confusion is the movement matrix, right? So we built the movement matrix into Semi-Private Pro so that what it does is we don't ever have to program, right? I never have to program. It's just evergreen. It just exists. There's a complete system operating in the background for all of the programming. It takes me 2 minutes when we get a new client. I take the client, I plug them into the app, right?
That's the first thing you got to do.
First thing I got to do. So you could give me 100 clients right now, Tim. Team would be prepared to train them tomorrow.
Boom.
Built to scale, right? Built to grow.
Before you go on,
Yes.
Built to Deliver, by the way, the book.
Yes.
But before you go to that, that's one of the major questions I ask new coaching clients that I'm working with a gym is, hey, if we were to throw 50 clients at you in the next week, could you service that? Could you deliver upon your promises to them? And then 99% are no.
Yeah.
They just can't. They're not designed. They're not built to grow. They're not designed to take on that type of growth, and they would break. And it's unfortunate because you're stuck. You're limited on your growth, and that's the last thing we want to do. Okay, continue.
Okay, so we get a new client. I basically put in their info into our app, their name, date of birth, contraindications, right? And then I just say this client's going to train this many times a week, and here's their goals, right? My training team then uses the movement matrix, assesses them, scores them during their workouts. And we assess and score them in 50 different categories.
Right.
50 different movement categories. Those scores tell the app to spit out, here's the appropriate difficulty of exercise for this movement pattern.
For this client.
So most gyms out there, they take their clients and they put them in beginner, standard, advanced buckets. They say, you're a beginner client, you're an advanced client, right? You're somewhere in the middle there. What the movement matrix allows us to do is look at every movement pattern somebody's going to do, score that, and then train specifically to their strengths and weaknesses across their whole entire body. Your squat's advanced, your overhead press is somewhere in the middle, and your hinge is really weak, right? So think about that from a customization layer for the client. Hey, we're going to maximize your results because we have a custom map of your body, right? You've got 3 goals. You want to feel good, you want to tone up, you want to lose body fat. The movement matrix is the thing that differentiates us. All these other gyms, they're going to put you in those buckets, right? So we've got our branded concept, right? The thing that's going to resonate with the client. I want to feel good, tone up, lose body fat.
Yep.
I understand that. The key to that is the movement matrix.
That's the unique mechanism. The reason why they get results here is because of the movement matrix.
Yep. They come in, they see on their tablet their name, their badge, their scores. So there's a client journey there now. Oh, I'm a -2 here. I want to get that to a base movement, right? I got to progress up. And then they see move better, tone up and burn body fat on their programming.
Boom.
Reinforced. It's easy for the coaches to deliver. The coaches can't go duplicate it on their own. It takes me 2 weeks to train a coach with minimal experience to go out there and deliver that the exact same way the team does that's been doing it for a year and a half, right? And you give me 100 clients, we can train them tomorrow. If we had room for them, which we don't. But
yeah, we do. We'll make room. We'll stack them. You know, it's funny. You don't think all this deep when you're running in operations and all the million things you have to do. But gym owners listening to this, the light bulbs are flashing right now. They're like, oh God, yes, you're right. And of course we don't have that. And yeah, we screwed that up in the past because we did it too.
We didn't know.
The cool thing about this show and Built to Grow is we have a laboratory on the other side of this wall. We're not ever standing still. We're constantly looking at how to get better. What can we deliver better? What can we improve on? And we went all in on this. We went all in on semi-private pro because the experience means everything. How are you going to differentiate from the guy down the street when they have fitness, nutrition, and accountability, and they have the same equipment as you? Maybe the music is different, or maybe the music's the same. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. They don't have a physical, tangible delivery system that the clients can see that my workouts for me, and the other side of that coin is they can look to next to them and look at that is not what I'm doing. That's what they're doing because that's for them.
Yep.
And that was the other part of that heads-up display.
Yes.
Was I wanted them to know this was for them. The fact in the app and the scoring and all the 50 movements and all that stuff, that's the bonus to what I wanted. Right? I wanted experience. This is for me. It's different from them. Heads up coaching, experience. You took it even deeper. Programming, 50 movements, scoring, body mapping, which is a trademark that we just created on this show. Body mapping, scoring, we could call it whatever, right? The point to that is what you need to understand is you need to create your own, right? Don't go be copying that. I can see when you register that, guys. I know what date we said it on the show, and I can go see when you do it. I'll go knocking on your door. Just kidding.
Sort of.
It doesn't matter. We don't compete with guys in New York, and it doesn't matter. You guys, we're Legacy Personal Training, what we do here in Scottsdale, Arizona, doesn't have any bearing what you're doing in Texas and Florida and Miami. And that's why we're happy to share all of this. Like in the beginning of time, and I think when I had Scott on the show where I was talking about keeping everything so tight to the chest because I don't want the guy down the street to hear about this. Go ahead, guys. Do your best. I want you all to win. Doesn't matter. There's plenty to go around. We get enough clients, right? So it doesn't really matter anymore because I've changed my perspective, right?
Yeah.
So you listening to this, you have the upper edge. You're listening to the show. You're getting firsthand knowledge on how to beat your competition. At the end of the day, this is what we're doing here. Business is a competition, right? Fitness is free. Push-ups are free. You can go on a diet tomorrow for free. Why would they come to you? What is your experience? How are you going to hold them accountable and all those things? So I'm excited. This is a new launch for us. It's a new app, new software. We haven't been in the business before in the software space, and I've never had a partner in my life. So having Zach as a partner is pretty interesting. He's probably thinking, man, this Tim guy's not holding up his end of the bargain here. I'm doing all this work out here and getting this done. I'm like, because he wrote the damn book. He wrote a book. We're going to be giving it out at the Growth Summit. So come to the Growth Summit. If you're not, hell, it's today.
Fly out, book a flight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get here.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're pumped because we're launching Semi-Private Pro at the Growth Summit, right? So that's our big kickoff. All the semi-private training gyms out there going to have access to it now, right? They can subscribe. They can get all of our programming. They can build their own, customize anything they want into the app. Doesn't have to be our system,
right?
But they're going to get all the tools that we use.
The movement matrix scoring system is going to be in there. The body mapping is going to be in there. You can swap your own workouts and movements for what you feel is the best progression on a hip hinge, single leg, whatever.
Yep.
We're actually, based on some of the beta feedback, we're putting video in there because, look, in the fitness space, the nomenclature of the same exercise could have 4 different names.
Right.
We call it this that's what we mean. So we click a little video. My man Nick's been grinding behind the scenes. I think we've got something like 250 videos done.
Yep.
We only have 1,000 more to go. We're going to get it done, though. We're going to get it done because that's the feedback. And listen, guys, this is probably the 7th or 8th update or iteration since we've started it. So by the time you get it, it's already going to be night and day better when we started. But it is software. It's going to have updates, and it's going to get cooler and cooler and cooler. So semiprivatepro.com, you're going to check that out. You can book a demo with you, Zach, I think, right?
Yep.
We're not at a level to have salespeople taking demo calls for us.
It's just me. You get full access to all the knowledge in my brain, right?
Which is very small.
Yes, I know one or two things about one or two things.
He talks well, though. He talks well. Anything else we want to add here?
ProFit, Semi-Private Pro, they share the same goal: help gym owners win, right?
Yeah, buddy.
Semi-private training, a lot of gyms out there are doing it where everybody's doing the same exact thing. There's too much relying on the coach. There's nothing that differentiates them. We're just trying to solve that problem. We just want you to be able to take the system, turn it on, and have the like most specific, special training gym in your town, right? That nobody can touch.
Awesome. Love that, guys. That's it for this episode. Go enjoy. Come see us at the Grow Summit. Stop by the Semi-Private Pro booth. Talk to Zach, and we will see you today. Talk to you later. Bye.
All right. And thank you for listening to that episode of the Built to Grow podcast, where we help gym owners win. Now, do you want to connect with me and other gym owners online? All you need to do is join our private Facebook group, Business Talk with Fitness Professionals. Just head on over to Facebook and type in Business Talk with Fitness Professionals. And when you do, we're going to give you our 10 marketing strategies 7-figure gym owners use to win. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until then, keep building something great.